Well, hello, I'm Dr. Chonta Haynes with Heart Truth Ministries, and this is your truth for the week. Some questions are a little easier to handle than others, and others are really kind of sensitive. So today's question is, when is it okay to divorce? Yeah, that's a difficult subject for many people, but let's go and see what the word has to say. First, in Malachi chapter number 2, verse 16, the Bible records for us that God hates divorce. And we usually stop there. But what does it say at the end? It says, guard yourself and don't break faith. God is a covenant keeping God. And so, in the covenant of relationship, when we are going into marriage, no one gets married to say, I want to get a divorce in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. They don't go in with that idea. They go in with, from death do us part. So, what happens? What happens is that we have certificates of divorce that are issued back in Deuteronomy chapter number 22 and 24, when men were deciding, hey, something displeased them about the wife that they had selected, and whether they decided they wanted to go a different route, whether they want to pick a different person. All of those things were happening. And so Jesus comes on the scene in Matthew chapter number 5, verse 32. And he says the only reason is because of marital unfaithfulness. In other words, you broke covenant. You did not keep the faith. But then they come back and they ask him the question later on in Matthew chapter number 19. Well, why did Moses then allow us to have a certificate of divorce? And Jesus replied simply, because of the hardness of your hearts. You are not open to receive the fact that none of us are perfect and people do grow, and we should grow with them. In other words, sometimes it is because we did not select appropriately. Sometimes we were listening to our biological clock. Sometimes we were trying to just pick what we thought was going to look good, like Saul, as opposed to figuring out someone's heart, like David. And so, with that, we have to recognize that marriage should not be entered into lightly, and neither should this question of divorce. Now, in First Corinthians chapter number 7, Paul then gives his commentary on divorce. And notice he says, it's mine and not God's. But the whole idea was don't be unequally yoked. How can two walk together except they be in agreement? It was a non believer versus a believer, and there was a difference. Well, when is it okay? If there is marital unfaithfulness and one party has broken covenant, that's when divorce is, I don't want to say acceptable, but is okay typically to happen. It does not mean that it has to. If your heart is not hardened and you're willing to forgive and move forward, you can do that. And many have stayed together, many have reconciled, many have restored their relationships, and that's what we should do. However, the caveat that I'm going to put here too is that God is a good, good father, and he does not want anyone to be abused. So, in the case of abuse, in the past, many have said, hey, you can't divorce him, you need to stay with him, but he's beating you, whether it's physically or mentally or emotionally. All of those abuses are happening, and many women were forced to stay then or cajoled to stay with their abuser. And many are in the grave today because of that. That is not God's design for you. That is not his desire for you either. If there is an abusive relationship, we tell you first and foremost to get to safety. That does not mean that you have to get divorced. It means that you need to be in a safe place. You separate. You can separate first to reconcile. And if that reconciliation, if that person does not get assistance, does not get help, then divorce may be inevitable, because in many instances, they will then break the marital covenant. So we do that. And I know this is not an easy subject. One, it is a very emotional subject. Typically, the women that I work with have had the rug pulled out from under them. The divorce is being requested by someone else. Is it possible for you to pray that it change? And it does. Yes, it does. I've worked with women who were praying faithfully, adequately, fervently for their marriages to be restored. But you can't change what the other person thinks. You can only change what you do. So my suggestion always is that following the word, You do all that you can, as much as it lies within you. Live peaceably with all men. If you are in covenant relationship, just like we want God to then be in covenant relationship with us, we don't break that covenant. We stay faithful. We guard ourselves. We make sure we don't allow the enemy to come in and ruin what God has put together. He says, let no man separate. So, is it okay? In certain circumstances, God has allowed us the privilege or the opportunity to move forward. And that's what we're supposed to do, move forward. I'm Dr. Chonta Haynes with Heart to Heart Truth Ministries, helping you put feet to your faith so that you can walk victoriously. Again, don't enter into marriage lightly, but also don't make the decision of divorce lightly either. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. This is your truth for the week. Hi, thanks for listening and watching. And if you enjoyed what you've seen, make sure you subscribe, like, and share, and hit that notification button so you'll know the next time there's a new episode. Listen, as a result of my coaching program, my clients have experienced a calming of the emotional roller coaster. They have a compelling future, as well as the confidence and the know-how to achieve it. And they have clarity on the financial tools that they need in order to live life on their terms and save tens of thousands of dollars. I'm looking for women who are devastated by the double D's, divorce or death, who want to gain confidence to live life on their terms with peace and financial security. My question is, who do you know? Have them go ahead and book a call with me so that we can get to that compelling future. My heart may be broke, but your bank account doesn't have to be. It's our pleasure to offer free resources from Grief to Gain, Financial Healing After Heartbreak, can be found at chontahaynes.com/free-gift, or 3 Secrets to Overcome Loneliness While Grieving the Life You Expected at chontahaynes.com/lonely, and other financial wisdom and much, much more. Please visit chontahaynes.com/free-resources. You can find us online at chontahaynes.com. That's CHONTAHAYNES.com. We are a division of Heart to Heart Truth Ministries and Heart to Heart Truth Foundation. At Heart to Heart Truth Ministries, we're helping believers live an abundant life based on God's Word, standing on His promises, walking out His principles, sharing with God's people, serving as unto the Lord.